Shalom. First and foremost, as always, we want to give our honors and praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rakakwadash. Double honors and salutations to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, those who taught us His truth and rule well. Shalom unto you men. Shalom to the 144,000, the governing body of the kingdom that is fast approaching. Shalom unto you brothers, you true believers, my yoke brothers, scattered throughout the four corners of the globe that are pushing this truth at this very hour. And shalom to the innumerable one-third spirits, consisting of men, women, and children that were ordained to believe on the names of Yahweh, Yahushua, in all truth and sincerity. Those who were blessed with the mark of the Tawah, which is exemptment from the judgment, the great whore Babylon, that's soon to befall this place, pursuant to Ezekiel 9:4. Shalom unto you, beautiful spirits. I'm the brother Yazarala from the GMS Dallas camp, coming back at you with another lesson Abaratazah, meaning Lord willing in the ancient Paleo Hebrew. It's edifying unto those who are meant to receive it. All right. And the name of this lesson here is You Must Leave the World Behind. You must leave the world behind. I was kind of meditating on that title for the past day or so. It's like I've been looking out here and seeing the timeline that we're in right now and all the things that are happening. You know, as people are scrambling for answers and trying to tune in and don't really know what to listen to, what's true or what's not, what's real news, what's fake, what's AI, you know, what is, what isn't. All right, it's a heavy time of confusion and deception that's happening right now. So it would behoove you, for those of you who want answers, to tune in to the men of the Lord, the prophets, right, that have the true words of Yahweh Bahashim Yahushua. All right, that can give you the true skinny of what's going on here in the earth, why things are the way they are, what is happening. All right, as we are being bombarded with deception on every side, you know, where a lot of people don't know what to or not to believe. All right, whether social media or internet news and controlled oppositions that are being put in front of your face, it's difficult to see what's really happening or what's really going on. But you know, you can feel it in the air that something is not right and something really, really terrible is coming. Right? But this is all Bible prophecy. Hence the name of the title, You Must Leave This World Behind. All right, now, when you go into the Bible, you know, there are roughly 3 definitions of the word world. All right, one being cosmos, which is a government arrangement, right, a governing body, and you'll know that. You can read that in Isaiah 45:17. All right, and that's the precept to John 3:16. All right, that world without end, that governing body. And then there's eon. Eon is an age, era, or a time period. All right, and what echoes that is 2nd Ezra 6:9. Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. The end of the world meaning the end of an age or an end of a certain time period. Okay, and then there's oikomene, which means the inhabited earth. All right, the planet, if you will, was that Luke 4:5 says that, you know, when you read that, talks about how Satan took Yahushua up on the high mountain and showed him all of the kingdoms of the world. All right, and that world, that's talking about the inhabited earth. All right, so what we're talking about here in this title, You Must Leave the World Behind. All right, meaning this time period that we're in right now, this era that we're in right now, which is the era of the rulership of Esau, Edom. All right, we're in a time and season of hate and war and death. All right, as I said, in other words, we are at the end of this man's eon or his age, the heathen rulership. All right, and there are particular people, places, and things that you're going to have to leave behind in this world. All right, because these things, these exact things that hold you, are going to be the things that are going to hinder you, whether it be your family and your friends, right? The possessions that you may have or own, right? Because we know they're known to what? They're known to possess you, all right? Lot's wife was a very particular example of that. She looked back because of, the riches and wealth and her family and everything that was there during that time. The Lord told her not to look back, and in doing so, she turned into a pillar of salt. Okay, and that monument is still here today as a reminder, all right, to what? That we must leave this world behind and everything that's in it. Okay, particular relationships, as I said, the lifestyles, the parties, the churches that you go to, the whorehouses, which we like to call them, all right, because we know the night is far spent, all right, and the day is at hand. Okay, as a matter of fact, what's a beautiful precept to go into? I'm going to grab this in Romans 13, I believe that is. I'm going to grab that in the NLT. All right, it says 13 and start at 11. This is all the more urgent, right? This message that Paul is delivering to, the Israelites in Rome. This is an urgent message, and it is time sensitive. For you know how it is late. Time is running out. Wake up, for our salvation is nearer now than we first believed. Right, hence the reason why all of these things are happening right now, because we're witnessing right now the unfolding of salvation get ready to happen. Okay, this is all the precursor to salvation, if you will. All right, these are the birth pains that are spoken about in the Bible. Okay, it goes on to say, the night is almost gone and the day of salvation will soon be here. So remove your dark deeds like dirty cloths and put on the shining armor of right living. Right. So we know that, Paul is stressing the fact of what? Separating yourself. And whatever it is that you have or you hold dear on this side, because ultimately it's all going to be destroyed. Okay? And it's ironic, I was talking to a beautiful, beloved brother, Bonsapat, Elder Bonsapat, and we were just talking about it, earlier today. When you really look at it through the Spirit, the time that we're living in right now is the time that all of our forefathers were waiting to see. Right? When you read Matthew, the 24th chapter, right? When his disciples asked Yahushua, what will be the sign of his coming? Right? All you have to do really is look out in the world today. Right? What do you see? We see wars, we see rumors of wars, famine, pestilence, nations rising against nations, kingdoms against kingdoms. Is that not what's happening right now? And with that happening, you still have a certain number of people that are blinded and don't get it. And unfortunately, it's going to come as a surprise to most people when Yahushua does crack those skies. Matter of fact, let me grab this 2 Peter 3 and 10. But the day of the Lord will come as a thief in the night, in which the heavens shall pass away with a great noise. Right, what's that great noise? Destruction here, Babylon. And the elements shall melt with fervent heat. What fervent heat? The thermonuclear fire that is going to utterly destroy this place. Okay, and the earth also and the worst therein shall be burned up. You see? So these times that we're living in right now are the times that all of our forefathers were waiting on. Man, when is going to be the end of this man's kingdom, the end of this system? All right? Are you at this time now going to return the kingdom unto Israel? Okay, so this is a very, very important time in history right now that we are living. All right, those of us that have the spirit of Yahweh Shemi Hashah, we understand how important this time is. This time echoes in our history as the time that all of our forefathers were waiting, desperately waiting for. All right, we're at the cusp of the kingdom being brought forth, man. But it's not going to go without fire, destruction, death, birth pains, if you will. All right, by way of what? Thermonuclear fire. Goes on to saying, seeing that all these things shall be dissolved. Right? When something dissolved, it's pretty much you. When you burn something, it's dissolved, it's destroyed, it's eviscerated. Okay, and that's the plans that Yahweh shall have for America, Babylon the Great, and everything in it within this world. Okay, and it says, what manner of person are you to be in all holy conversation and godliness? Right, and that's a simple answer. You need to be separate. And it first starts where all things begin, in the mind, the la'ab. Okay, you must first separate yourself. And it's not something that can happen overnight, right? Because we've been we've been raised and accustomed to the ways of the heathen, man. All right, whether it's philosophies, ideologies, religions, all these things aren't something you can just pull cold turkey to overnight. It's going to take a process of time. All right, and that's why the Lord allowed that grace period. Grace period is nothing more than a set allotted amount of time for us to get ourselves together. Okay, that's why the grace period is so important. All right, but just along with any other grace period, whether it be you get a certain amount of time to pay your phone bill or electric bill, that time is going to run out. Okay, and we're in the point that we're at the time now, right now, where the clock is ticking and time is running out. Okay, so separating yourselves, Romans 12:2, and be not conformed to this world, right? Eon, age or era, right? Time period. But be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, that ye may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of Yahweh Bahashim Yahushua. What's the will of Yahweh Bahashim Yahushua? It's written within the scriptures. And the Lord has raised up his men to let you know what the will of Yahweh Bahashim Yahushua is. His determination is to destroy this place, all right, and set up or erect the kingdom of heaven here on earth. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done here on earth as it is in heaven. All right? So what is Paul saying here in Romans? He's saying, be ye separate. All right, be not conformed to this world. All right, this time period, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Okay? So as I said, it all starts, that separation starts first within the mind. All right? That ye may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of Yahweh Bahashim Yahushua. Basically, letting go of that mindset, all right, the values and distractions, all right, that we see here in the society, all right, that we may live with purpose, truth, and spiritual alignment with Yahweh Yahushua. Basically, a way of life that's contrary to the Most High. That's what Paul is pressing here, all right, and ultimately what the men of the Lord are saying the same thing, okay, because there are a certain sect of men out here, men, women, and children, all right, of the elect, all right, that were, though we know all of Israel was created to be separate, there's only going to be a remnant that is going to return. All right, at Leviticus 20 and 26, and ye shall be holy unto me, for I, the Lord, am holy, and have severed you from other people, that ye should be mine. You see, so we are the Lord's possession. When you go into that word severed, that means what? Cut away, to be separate from the rest of the nations, the rest of the world, if you will, this society. So we're not to walk after the manner of this place here. All right, so at some point or another, rather sooner than later, you're going to have to know and understand that you're going to have to leave this world behind. So, Lucky, let me grab my charger here because my phone is going a little low. So yeah, as I said, at some point, rather sooner than later, you're going to have to know and realize that you are going to have to leave this world behind. All right? And whatever that may consist of. All right? You can't take it with you. And who would want to ultimately? This place is utterly destroyed. Okay? This is not our rest. Right? It goes on to say, well, as a matter of fact, this is 1 John 2 and 15. And these are all, our forefathers warning us, to be separate. All right? What did Yahushua say? He said, this was my kingdom, my servants shall fight. All right? And who was ruling in that time? The Roman Empire, the first beast. So here we are in the second leg, the second beast, America, Rome 2.0. But our kingdom is getting ready to be erected right now. Okay, and at that point, then once our kingdom is set up, then Jake will have rulership. Jake will have sovereignty. We will be in our rest. Okay, and it will be nothing like this world that we see here. And why would we want anything in this world ultimately? Okay, it says, "Love not the world, neither the things that are in the world." Right. Goes on to say, "If any man love the world, the love of the Father is not in him." And that verse alone destroys the Christian go-to, John 3:16. Okay, because as we mentioned, that's talking about a cosmos, all right? A government or an arrangement, an arranged government, all right? Basically, the elect is what it's really going into, starting with, okay? So it goes into detail what the things are in the world, what you're going to have to know, all right, and pretty much come to grips with. "For all that is in the world, the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, the pride of life, is not of the Father, but of the world." You see? Wanting to have, nice things and riches and belongings. Yeah, we get it. All right, but we were sent here, all right, on slave ships for a purpose. All right, we were put here, we were brought here in captivity for a purpose. It wasn't to prosper. Right? We say it in our prayers, and the Lord's Prayer, "Give us this day our daily bread," meaning just enough for us to survive. Okay, but somewhere along the line, Jake has attached himself to this world. All right? Well, which we just read, all right, which is the lust of the flesh, lust of the eyes, and the pride of life. Jake has attached himself to that. And you're going to have to leave that ideology and that mindset behind if you want or expect salvation. All right, those are the first steps. You have to let go of this world. If you can do that, then you just might be a man of the Lord. Okay? Because at the end of the day, all this goes back to what? This is a social construct of the world. All right? Goes on to say, and here's the point, "And the world passeth away, and the lust thereof, but he that doeth the will of Yahweh Shem Yahushua abideth forever." You see that? So this world, all right, is going to be dissolved. It's going to pass away. All right? Not the planet as a whole. Scripture talks about the earth abideth forever. All right? But this system, this era, Esau's world, all right, as he's in the ruler seat, at the very end of this thing, this is getting ready to pass away, and everything that's in it. You see? And we know pass away being what? Destroyed. All right, so now is a time where you should really be doing a lot of self-examination with yourself on a daily. All right? That's to not fellowship with this world. All right? And be circumspect also with the close company that you keep. All right, because we're entering into a time of food shortages, famine, divisions beyond anything that we've ever seen on this side, man. Jacob's trouble is going to be out of this world. Nothing that you can't imagine how bad it's going to be. The scripture says it's going to be as a day that was never before since there was a nation. Meaning, when you all throughout history, there's one day that comes even comparably close to the day of Jacob's trouble. That's how bad it's going to be here. You see? So in doing so and watching who you keep close company with, because as you see the things that are happening, the Strait of Hormuz, right? And now you have Trump over there with the blockade, right? You have this so-called 10-day ceasefire. But to me, if you ask me, that's nothing but more. That's just time for them to re-up, because this thing ain't over. As the brothers, we talk about this all the time. This war is going to end in thermonuclear fire and America going up in flames. That's how it's going to end. It's already started, and it's not going to slow down. It's not going to stop. It's not going to rest. It's only going to get hotter and hotter. Okay, as I mentioned earlier in the lesson, these are the birth pains that are happening. Okay, food famines and food shortages are starting to come on the rise. We're not seeing the true effects of the shutting down of the Strait of Hormuz just yet. Give it till about December, January. All right, that's when the effects are really going to start being felt. Okay, and people are really going to be looking for answers. All right, and at that time, you're going to see a lot of people that are going to be at each other's throat. This is why this verse is very, very important. 2 Corinthians 6:14. Be ye not unequally yoked together with unbelievers. For what fellowship hath righteousness with unrighteousness? And what communication has light with darkness? Right, we know America what to be a very dark and bitter place. Right, where the men of the Lord are the light. All right, we have that light, so we're able to see what's coming. A prudent man foreseeth evil, and he hideth himself. Proverbs 22:3. All right, so there's an evil that's coming here to America. Okay, so you want to make sure that you're not in cahoots, or you just want to be very circumspect who you surround yourself with. All right, because we're coming into a time of great desperation, and the people that you hold near and dear and close to you are going to be those same people that are going to give hell unto you, man. All right, the spirit of cannibalism is going to be back here. You see? As a matter of fact, this is one of the main reasons here is the 2nd Esdras 8 and 50. I think I'm going to grab that in the GNT, I believe. It says, for many great miseries shall be done to them that in the latter time shall dwell in the world, because they have walked in great pride. Right, that latter in time which we're in right now. Okay, and we see who the king of pride is. That's Trump, DJ Trump. Right, but as a judge of the people as himself, so are all that they that dwell therein. So this is why the Americans have become proud. But right now, we're seeing all this happening, and it's funny because, when you look at it, it's like, for the longest time, Jake has always been the problem. Whenever there was an issue or some things that were going on, they always made Jake the face of the problem. Well, if you can't get this or DEI, this is because of Jake, it's because of niggas, it's because of immigrants, because, the Northern and Southern Kingdom has always been the face of the problem, all right, and the go-to for the pointed finger, all right, for all of America's issues. But here we are in this latter end time where we, as the world can see, we don't have anything to do with what's going on. All right, Esau, Edom is being exposed on a very, very high level, and all the Northern and Southern Kingdom are just sitting back looking. You cannot blame this on the so-called Negroes. Okay? You cannot blame this on the Northern or Southern Kingdom, so-called Mexicans or immigrants. All right? The whole world is seeing this on a world stage. You see? Where am I at here? Start here again. It's 2nd Esdras 8:50. For many great miseries shall be done to them that in the latter time dwell upon the earth, because they have walked in great pride. Right, where we are right now. Goes on to say here, but understand thou for thyself and seek out the glory for such as be like thee. Right. Going back to what I mentioned, what? Being not unequally yoked. Finding or be equally yoked with like-minded men and women that are going to fear the Lord. All right, because as I said, we're entering into a time where your foes will be your closest neighbors, your friends, your family. All right, because civil war is coming to America here, man, on a level never before seen. 2nd Esdras 15:14. Let me get that in the GNT. It says the world and the people in it are doomed. And the war that will bring the destruction is very near. Well, it's here. It's already started. This war written right here is talking about World War III, which we are in right now. And it's going to bring the destruction. So nations will arm themselves, is that not happening right now? And fight against other nations. There will be great political turmoil with one group trying to overpower another and gain control. Is that not happening right now? See, remember what I mentioned earlier. This is what the disciples were asking Yahushua and all of our forefathers in Matthew 24. All right, which the Syrians call the Mount Olivet Discourse. They were all wanting to know When will be the time of, or the signs of that coming? Well, we're reading it right here. Goes on to say, while ignoring the legitimate government, right, because this means sedition, this is what's going to happen here in America. Civil unrest, civil war. There'll be no longer free access to cities, right, because martial law will be ensued and pushed and implemented. Okay? There will be checkpoints, all right, to be able to go from one city to another. All right, you're not going to be able to walk freely. All right, goes on to say, because the struggle of power will bring destruction, terror, and total confusion wherever people live. And that's beginning to happen right now. Here's the point. Driven by famine and terrible suffering, people will assault their neighbors and mercilessly plunder their possessions. You see that? So again, what I said earlier, being around brothers and sisters of the like mind, your family, your closest friends, neighbors, them are the people you're not going to want to be around in that day. You're going to want to get far. You're going to want to get far from these people. Why? Because these people are of the world. Okay, they're not used to not having access to things, having things at the drop of a dime when they want them. They're used to instant gratification right then and there. Americans don't know what it's like to suffer or to go without food for a long period of time, or access to any goods and services, water and things of that nature. Okay, they're used to having everything right there at a drop of a dime. You see? So only being around men and women of like-minded individuals who fear Yahweh Yahushua. All right, that's going to be key. And that's where you're going to want to be. Okay? So like I said, I don't want to make this lesson too long. You know what I mean? I just wanted to just touch on the fact that you're going to have to leave this world behind and everything that's in it. All the things that you may feel are near and dear and close onto you. You know, those things are going to be dissolved and burnt up. Those things are going to be destroyed. And those same people that you call your friends, your families, your neighbors, those people are going to turn on you. If you have something that they desperately need, they're coming for you to get it. And it does not matter who they are. All right, so Isaiah 33, one of my favorite scriptures, knowledge and wisdom shall be the stability of thy time. The times that we're coming into, having this knowledge and wisdom is going to keep your mind stable. And it's going to be the strength, the power of salvation. So it's going to get you out. Okay? So look, I don't want to make this video too long. You know, I just want to give you some Abarakazah, meaning Lord willing, it was edifying, something to meditate and ponder on. All right, as we're entering into Jacob's trouble, as we're entering into boots on the ground, as we're entering into the grand finale of this World War III, as we're entering into the time of the MOTB being introduced to the world, all right, and mandated. We're entering into those times. All right, so with that being said, I'm going to give all honors and praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Bakakodash. Double honors and salutations to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone. Shalom.